Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're looking at a really dynamic market, real estate in Phuket. And just to be clear, we're saying Phuket.
Phuket, exactly. It's a place that's been getting a lot of buzz, and for this deep dive, we're focusing on the latest trends and what the future might hold.
Yeah, and our main source here is an article, Phuket Real Estate, Trends and Future Outlook. It's from Ocean Worldwide.
Ah, yes. They're a luxury real estate agency, right? Been based in Phuket itself since, what, 2004?
That's the one. They
Yeah.
focus on luxury residential spots in Phuket and also over on Koh Samui.
And the article's author is Gal Ovieditan, who handles their marketing. But, the piece also mentions the agency's director, Sandra O'Neill.
Right.
Apparently, she's helped, thousands of families and investors over the years, so you can tell their insights come from really deep local experience.
Definitely gives it weight. So our goal today really is to unpack what Ocean Worldwide sees as the key trends, maybe some of the challenges, and the opportunities shaping Phuket's market as we look at the 2024 and well beyond.
Okay. And the article itself kind of flags the main takeaways early on. They're anticipating steady growth, pointing to a lot of new developments popping up, especially in some emerging areas. And a big one is this shift towards eco-friendly or sustainable living.
Right. Sustainability seems huge. And given their focus, it's no surprise they highlight a really thriving luxury segment.
Absolutely. Which, as they point out, is heavily influenced by foreign investment and, the rules and regulations around that.
Okay, so let's dig into that 2024 outlook first.
Yeah.
Steady growth, rising prices. Sounds positive.
Yeah, pretty optimistic. They're talking price increases in the ballpark of maybe 5 to 10%.
Okay.
But what's interesting is they suggest this might not hit renters too hard, at least not significantly. The pressure seems more on the buying side.
So why the high potential? What's driving that confidence?
Well, a big piece is just more people choosing Phuket as a place to live. You've got retirees coming in, both Thai and international, plus others just relocating. It fundamentally boosts demand.
Makes sense. So if you're listening and thinking about investing, what are the specific opportunities Ocean Worldwide points to?
They break it down. First, condos. Apparently, a lot of new units have just finished construction, and they're proving really popular with tourists, especially visitors from China. So the expectation is investors will likely see that appeal too.
And then you have the classic Phuket image, the villas.
Oh, yeah. Villas, especially luxury ones, are always in demand. They're a constant draw for high net worth individuals.
What about just buying land?
Land is definitely mentioned as a good investment, particularly in those up-and-coming areas. But, and this is important, the article stresses you really need to do your research. Zoning, future plans. It's not straightforward.
Right, more involved. And it sounds like investing there isn't just financial, it's about the lifestyle too.
Exactly. They emphasize that. You're buying into that whole Phuket mix, the relaxation, the excitement, the beaches.
But it can't all be smooth sailing. What challenges does the article flag?
Well, one is just increased competition from all those new developments we mentioned.
Okay.
And regulations, especially for foreign buyers, are described as, tricky.
Tricky how? What makes them tricky?
Things like the limits on direct land ownership for foreigners, or the percentage of a condo building that can be foreign-owned, leasehold structures, stuff like that.
Right.
The article really underlines getting proper legal advice before making any moves. It's essential.
Good advice anywhere, really. And, of course, the wider global economy plays a role.
Always. What happens globally can ripple out and affect local markets like Phuket, impacting, average prices across Thailand even.
Let's talk about shifting trends. It sounds like people aren't just looking for fancy villas anymore. Preferences are changing.
Yeah, definitely. The article notes a real shift, particularly among younger Thai buyers. They're leaning more towards condos and townhouses now, rather than the traditional larger Thai houses.
Interesting. So local demand is evolving too, not just international.
Precisely. It's about modern designs, convenience, maybe the security and facilities you get in gated communities. It's a different lifestyle preference.
And how are broader lifestyle changes, like remote work, playing into this?
Well, that's pushing demand for homes with, really good internet, obviously, and maybe a dedicated space for a home office. That work-life blend is becoming key.
And that interest in sustainable, eco-friendly places we touched on feels like a big one for Phuket.
It does. We'll definitely circle back to that. Another interesting demographic point they raise is, fewer kids being born, but a growing elderly population.
Oh.
Yeah, nearly 10% of Thai nationals in Phuket are apparently over 60 now. That could eventually shape property needs, think more accessible homes, maybe even specific elderly care facilities later on.
Hmm, fascinating.
Yeah.
So what's the current market vibe like right now?
The article describes it as buzzing. There was a definite price jump after the pandemic slowdown. The West Coast is still super popular, obviously, but other areas are picking up steam too. People looking for maybe quieter spots or slightly more affordable options.
And that increased demand is key.
Absolutely fundamental. It's what's underpinning the market strength right now.
And who are these buyers? What's the mix?
It's really diverse, quite cosmopolitan, and the article suggests that mix actually adds value to the market. You've got foreign investors. They mention China, Europe, Singapore, Hong Kong specifically.
Plus Thais buying holiday homes or moving there full time.
Exactly. And then add in retirees, both Thai and international, plus this growing group of digital nomads drawn by the lifestyle.
So looking out further, what's the expert view on future demand? Still strong.
Generally, yes, the outlook cited seems positive, predicting continued strong demand. But, it's always contingent on things like the global economy staying stable and the regulatory scene not changing too drastically.
Sure, the usual caveats. But Phuket's fundamental appeal seems pretty solid.
Yeah, its popularity and just general desirability are seen as the bedrock for that positive long-term view. Plus, ongoing development of new projects and infrastructure helps too.
Okay, let's talk about that recovery post-pandemic. The article calls the market's bounce back remarkable.
It really seems to have been. It recovered fast and in some parts of the market even shot past pre-pandemic levels. That demand, both local and international, just kicked back in strongly.
And the reason for that speed.
Phuket's inherent appeal, really. It's seen as such a desirable place to live. Plus, its existing tourism infrastructure and, frankly, its strong global brand meant buyers returned quickly.
They even compared to other Thai cities.
Yeah, they know Phuket's recovery was much faster than, say, Bangkok's, which was more moderate, or Chiang Mai's, which was slower. That established infrastructure really gave Phuket a head start.
So for long-term growth potential, what are the key supporting factors listed?
Well, continued infrastructure work is a big one. The airport expansion, road upgrades, things like that.
Okay, and investment demand.
Yeah, growing demand from both Thai and international investors is crucial.
Anything else?
The focus on sustainable development is seen as a plus, and ultimately it just comes back to the island's powerful appeal as a lifestyle destination. You see it in the active house sale market. People are definitely buying.
So where are the new hotspots emerging? The article mentions community-focused developments.
Yes, that's a noticeable trend. It's not just about individual houses or condos anymore. Developers are creating these sort of integrated communities, modern apartments, smart homes, eco-villas, often sharing facilities like gyms, pools, maybe even co-working spaces. It caters to that changing lifestyle.
And infrastructure improvements probably help open up new areas for this.
For sure. For people looking a bit off the main tourist track, the article points to some potential growth areas, especially in the south.
Like where?
Raleigh gets a mention, known for its more laid-back feel, great seafood. Chalong, which is more of a hub, especially for boating and water sports. And up north, Mai Khao, much quieter, known for that long, peaceful beach. The advice is basically look for places with good infrastructure, amenities, and something unique to offer.
And all these new residents are creating more vibrant communities.
Exactly. It drives demand for local shops, schools, healthcare. Phuket actually has pretty strong population growth compared to other parts of Thailand. And this is feeding that trend towards developments that actively build in green spaces, social hubs, community events.
Let's zoom in on the luxury segment now. The article says it's been incredibly resilient.
Very much so. Shows real strength. The trend there is towards these ultra high-end villas and condos where, privacy and exclusivity are the absolute top priorities.
And who's buying at this level?
It's a mix of international and wealthy Thai buyers. They're looking for more than just a property. It's about a premium lifestyle and experience. The article also flags the rise of branded residences.
Ah, right, like hotel-linked properties.
Exactly. Luxury properties often managed by or associated with a top hotel brand. So residents get access to all those high-end services and amenities. Adds prestige, convenience.
And these high net worth buyers, what's their profile? Why Phuket?
You're looking at entrepreneurs, successful business owners, retirees, global investors. Often they see it as a long-term investment, but also, importantly, as an escape.
Drawn by the beauty, the facilities,
Yeah.
but maybe it's cheaper than, say, the Riviera.
Relatively speaking, yes. But the article suggests what really seals the deal for many is that combination of luxury and authenticity. You get the top-tier amenities, but also the local culture, the amazing food, a sense of real community.
Okay, so what amenities are non-negotiable at this level? Expectations must be sky high.
Oh, absolutely. Think private beach access, cutting-edge gyms and spas, gourmet kitchens perfect for entertaining.
Smart home tech, integrated seamlessly, round-the-clock security, concierge services.
Yeah, all of that. The article even mentions really exclusive stuff like private yacht berths or helipads appearing in some developments.
Yeah.
And it points out that places like the Mountain View Villas in Bangtao often feature these kinds of ultra-luxury amenities.
Just to give us a sense, what sort of price tags are we talking about?
Well, the article gives averages, starting points really. For a luxury villa, you're typically looking at upwards of 2 million US dollars. For a high-end condo, maybe starting around $1 million USD. It shows how active that top tier of the Phuket market really is.
And how does foreign investment specifically play into this luxury scene, especially with those regulations?
Foreign money is a huge factor, particularly at the high end. But, as we said, it operates within rules designed to balance investment with local interests, like those condo ownership caps and lease rules. Any changes to those regulations can definitely impact how much money flows in or out.
So it's not just cash, it affects market mood too.
Totally. High foreign investment boosts confidence, sends positive signals. But, bad news globally or economic jitters elsewhere can make foreign investors pause, which can cool things down.
What trends are they seeing driven by this?
Key trends influenced by foreign investment include strong demand for luxury villas and also rental properties, more investment coming from Asia and Europe specifically, and this growing interest in sustainable luxury. Foreign capital is vital for development, but it can also bring challenges like more competition or potential volatility.
Okay, let's pivot to sustainability. The article calls it a necessity. What are the trends in eco-friendly building?
We're seeing more projects deliberately using sustainable materials and designs. Things like solar panels are becoming more common, rainwater harvesting systems, better insulation. It's about reducing the environmental impact, sure, but also potentially lowering running costs for the owners.
And preserving Phuket's natural beauty, presumably.
That's a big part of it. And buyers and renters are increasingly looking for this stuff. They want energy efficiency, water-saving features, ways to reduce waste, and definitely access to green spaces. It's part of wanting a healthier lifestyle.
Is the government pushing this along too?
Seems so. The article mentions government initiatives, maybe tax breaks for green buildings, stricter codes coming in, plus investments in things like public transport and renewable energy infrastructure. They even suggest new property ownership rules might be considered to encourage sustainable practices. So it's coming from multiple angles: developers, buyers, government.
What about the long-term rental market? Is demand growing there as well?
Yes, it is. It's not just tourists. More people are moving to Phuket long-term for work, retirement, just a change of pace. So properties with flexible lease options are getting more popular.
A good opportunity for investors then.
The article suggests it can be, yeah. But investors need to really understand what long-term renters want: good locations, the right amenities, quality condition, and target their specific audience: professionals, retirees, digital nomads. Buying something for sale in a prime spot with good access might be a smart move.
How stable is that rental market overall?
Generally pretty stable because Phuket is just so popular year-round, both for holidays and living. But, investors need to watch the economy, new developments, tourism trends. Those things can affect demand and rents.
And renters want modern places.
Increasingly, yes. Modern apartments, villas with good facilities, which means older properties might need a bit of an upgrade to compete effectively.
Does the article give any idea about rental yields? What returns can investors expect?
It gives some rough figures, like maybe 5-7% for apartments, 4-6% for villas, perhaps 6-8% for townhouses, but these are just averages. The actual yield really depends on location, size, condition, furniture, facilities, lots of factors.
Okay, last area, technology. How's tech changing the Phuket property scene?
It's becoming really central. Smart home features, for instance, are way more common now. Automated lights, climate control, security systems, being able to control things remotely via your phone.
Adds value, especially for younger buyers.
Definitely. Plus, it can help with energy efficiency and security. It's a big selling point for many.
And things like virtual tours, I imagine they're crucial for international buyers.
Hugely important. Allows someone in, say, Europe or Singapore to explore a property in detail without getting on a plane. Saves time, money, and marketing generally is more tech-driven now. Drone videos, interactive online brochures.
So tech isn't just fancy add-ons, it's changing the whole process.
Yeah, fundamentally, online portals now offer tons of info, even legal pointers and market analysis. You've got digital contracts, online payments becoming more standard. It just makes the whole market more efficient, more transparent, and definitely more accessible to buyers anywhere in the world.
All right, looking to the future then, what are the overall market forecasts according to the article? Still optimistic.
The general vibe from the experts cited is, yes, optimistic. They expect growth to continue, driven a lot by tourism coming back strong and those condo sales staying robust.
And maybe development moving inland a bit, as beachfront land gets harder to find.
That's a potential shift they mentioned, yeah. And the fact that tourist arrivals are expected to pretty much double in the next few years is seen as a very encouraging sign for overall demand.
But there are always risks, right? What potential headwinds does the article mention?
Sure. Things like rising interest rates globally could slow down buyers. Big unexpected changes in government policy or regulations could have an impact. And just general global economic wobbles are always a risk factor.
So for investors trying to navigate this, what strategies are suggested?
Diversification comes up, maybe spreading investment across different property types or locations within Phuket, and making sure investments align with your own appetite for risk and what returns you're aiming for.
And the golden rule.
Do your homework. Get professional advice, especially that legal advice on regulations we talked about. Really understand the market dynamics. The article is clear. Property investment has risks. Past results don't guarantee future ones. But if you plan carefully, it can definitely pay off.
So wrapping up this deep dive on Phuket real estate, the picture from Ocean Worldwide's analysis is pretty clear. It's a market very much on an upward trajectory, fueled by really diverse and growing demand.
Yeah, there's a definite feeling of optimism, both for people looking to invest and those just thinking about moving there and enjoying the lifestyle.
And given everything we've discussed, these shifts in what buyers want, like modern living and community focus, that big push towards sustainability, the impact of such a global mix of residents, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Here's a final thought for you. How might all these trends ultimately reshape the actual identity, the fundamental character of Phuket itself, going beyond just the buildings and developments?
That's a really interesting question for the long term. It suggests the property market isn't just reacting to change, it's actively involved in shaping what Phuket becomes socially, environmentally in the future.
Food for thought. And if you want to explore this market more, or perhaps need some guidance, the original article from Ocean Worldwide naturally suggests checking out their website for more insights.
Definitely a useful resource for anyone considering jumping into this very dynamic Phuket market.